And 7 to a year. High chair and climbing accidents. Auto accidents. And in fact, auto accidents was pretty high for all of these. So that's why I wanted to make sure I included the car seat safety. Burns also high, strangulation. You know, grabbing. Again, they're grabbing more for things, so cords and strings and ties. Walkers. I don't know if they still make walkers. Did they even make walkers anymore?
They're not recommended.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I know they haven't been recommended for some time. Some people even thought they prevented them from learning to walk or hindered that development. But yeah, those could tip over, could get injured there, and falls. So the main cause is kind of when you look across, and they have all kinds of grids on this with the ages, and they break it down between accidental and non-accidental. You know, there's also non-accidental. Suffocation, definitely under 1. We see more cases of that. Okay, and like I mentioned with sudden infant death syndrome, it has declined now, placing children asleep on their back. But you know, there are still risk factors if you use bumper pads, if you put a lot of bedding in there, that kind of thing. Drowning definitely is highest in that 2 to 4 range. So again, reminding parents that even though they're going to go to the park and their kid's going to go, you need to be, really it's best to get in the pool and be with them the whole time, even though they're older as well. It's better to get in the pool with them. Auto accidents are definitely the highest, kind of across the board, they're really pretty high, but for children 10 to 14, it's highest, so statistically. Children between ages 5 and 9 really had the lowest rates of accidental injuries. When I looked across, they had the lowest overall, so it seems like the real young, and then the auto accidents really shot up during that range.
And you just give the information why? Is that they're pre-teenage?
Not on this, it was just grids. Yeah, I know afterwards for adults, a lot of it had to do with poisoning, accidental. That was high, and then also auto accidents was high, and then there was then you started seeing suicide in there, which is kind of sad because suicide was high. You didn't see it so much with the younger children, but I think as young as 12 you started seeing that in there, which is kind of alarming to me anyway, because it's the non-accidental. But for the older folks, it was more like poisoning by accident, kind of, or taking too much of something, or auto accidents. Okay, actually we're almost done here. How is this? So any questions? Did you guys have anything else aside from what I included here? Any other areas you could think of? One thing that I didn't put, and I definitely am real cognizant of it because I remember hearing cases about it, and we all bring kids to birthday parties, and we have birthday parties at our home. Balloons.
Yes.
It was on our list. Yeah. It was on your list, and we'll see. Why didn't you mention it? And so what about balloons? What do you guys know about balloons and the hazard?
They used to be the highest cause of choking for children. And you still see people with balloons and letting their kids blow them up and
suffocation too, because if you get stuck and then you...
Yeah, and it's more so when they're popped, and so they pop balloons and having people are walking, but they're on the cement. People don't pick them up and throw them away, so they're there. So then you get a real young child that comes and picks that up, puts it in their mouth like they do everything else, but because of the rubber, what it's made of, it actually expands, and it just makes a barrier in their windpipe. It gets stuck to both sides and it expands. That's what I remember about it. So it creates like this barrier right there, and there's really nothing you could do at that point. But yeah, a lot of deaths were attributed to that. I didn't see as much, so I imagine that's declined, but it's still something to think about when you go to kids' parties. And anytime I see a piece of a balloon fragment, I make sure that I get it right away, because I get you get nervous.
What about the rubbers that from the soda cans? What do you call that?
The what?
Hold the thing.
The plastic.
Yes.
You know how holding the six pack of soda?
The one that holds it together.
Strangulation. Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing about that. Yeah, and I think animals too. I want to say with animals too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what they ask you to cut it when
Yeah.
you're throwing it away.
That's right. That one I completely forgot about. That's right. That's been linked to that. Maybe with kids too. I don't remember, but
Lisa, did you cover choking in a part that we might have missed? Hot dogs, not feeding your kids hot dogs or grapes?
you know, I talked about just cutting up things really small. You got to make sure it's
Right.
cut up very small. You know, kids grabbing for even like a tortilla chip and then they're choking that down, and you know, there's just
The lifesavers are.
yeah, that's probably exactly the right size where we're getting stuck, right?
Hard candy like
Yeah.
that. And people who don't think about it just.
Yeah.
Ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. You're thinking, oh, she's cold, and the kid needs it.
Yeah, you might even give it to them.
Oh, Lynette actually taught me this one thing earlier about the toilet paper rule.
Oh, the toilet paper test. If you put the toys through the toilet paper, that if it's too small,
That would
can
be your
a
guide,
choke-
is
that
what
would
they
be the
can
guide
choke
for
on, yeah.
choking.
Is that
That's
now?
really
I know it was smaller.
Yeah, I think it's smaller,
Way smaller than that.
way smaller.
We use miniature toilet paper.
But if it goes through like easily, then that was what I was told to
That's so
be a test.
They used to make that little plastic
Yeah, the little.
thing that they would give away at resource fairs.
Mhm.
But maybe, are you saying that that's something new? Because that's something that every home would have, you hope.
Hmm.
So it would be accessible to everybody.
Mhm. If you ever have a question about a toy and your child is too young, you can
Mhm.
just take their toilet paper roll and show them if that's too,
Yeah.
it's too small for the child. It
In
gives
this
them a
country,
visual.
that would be a universal thing that most people could do.
Yeah. And there's trainings where people can come in and just train on toys, because it's remarkable, you know, toys that people get that you don't, and especially sometimes ones that aren't made here necessarily, so they don't maybe have the same standards for the toy, so they might have a longer string, you know, for example, or, you know, might have some small little metal parts that could come off, that
Could be
kind of
made of
thing.
lead.
Yeah, but I remember having an interesting training in that, and they covered choking hazards, and there was a lot of different toys out there that had, you know, small things on it that they could actually pull off, and then it would be something that could just get stuck just the right.
About siblings, like you, all the stuff age 3 and up, and I just thought about, you know, we had my daughter's birthday, some people gave her stuff over 3, which is fine, because she is,
But
but now all that has to be
Yeah,
put, you know, you
Yeah.
can't, you can only play with it on your bed, because anything that gets on the floor, he's gonna put in his mouth.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that too, many times as parents, we're thinking about, you know, okay, this is appropriate, but you don't think about the other child who's in the home who's gonna grab that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But at least, yeah,
That's a good
you're aware, you guys are aware of it, and then you're making her aware of it too, because I've seen older
Well, we
siblings
only
where they
got
come and
one
they
today.
get it. Oh, you can't touch, you know, you can't have that. And so I think, wow, that's really good. That,
Yeah, we teach her too.
Yeah.
If you see him with something small, I say if it's smaller than his hand, you take it away. Like that's the rule. Smaller than the size of his hand, he can't have it. Because you know you try to be on there, but sometimes if I've gone to the restroom, walked away, I just found this in his hand. but she knows. She says if it's smaller than the size of his hand, he can't hold it.
Mhm. Yeah. There's just so many things. And then also just there's little things that are around in the environment that they pick up and will swallow. And I had my nephew over, it's been several months, but my son had some marbles in his room that I think were on the floor. And they were for some little, they fit on a little board. It was some game. And so we knew how many there were. And he had gone into the room, and she's usually really good. She's right behind him constantly. But came out, and I think he had a couple of them, and he said the word gumball, you know, and he is talking now.
Oh my God.
And so, you know, she was in a panic, my sister, and so we're counting them to see how many, and there's one missing. There's one white one missing. It's like, oh my God. But he's not choking. I said, Mark, but he, you know, he seems fine. He's not choking. So if he did swallow it, you know, it'll just go through him. And she was just really nervous. So we were just watching him. This is horrible.
Did they find it?
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't swallow it, and we did find it later, later in the room, because he had so much
That would've been a
stuff
good
in that
story.
room. It was unbelievable.
That big fear that they had from years ago about swallowing the magnets. you know, if you swallow more than
yes.
one, like they could find each other
Oh,
and tear you apart.
The what?
The
It
inside.
happened to one
If you
girl.
swallow, yeah, it came out and she died. I guess, you know, the child swallowed 2 magnets following each other, and they found each other in her stomach and just tore everything out.
Oh,
So just knowing that, I mean, things that you don't think about.
Is it here?
So in her stomach, it went through her system and was in her stomach and it
Yeah,
killed
with
her.
the travel, like
It's-
Oh,
yeah.
one goes
goodness.
to one intestine and the other one, and they met each other, and so they were, because they were just trying to touch each other, it just tore the
Yeah.
intestines apart.
Yeah.
I didn't
no,
know.
how old was the child?
She was little,
Oh.
under 2.
Yeah,
Under
probably.
2.
That's
Oh,
that's kind of
God.
Yeah, and they have all these toys out for older kids, like
Thinking
6, 7, 8 years old, that have these magnets,
Yeah.
small
But you
little
think
marble
siblings
magnets.
get into all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but that's one of
And
the
even
big
the
things. is that-
magnetic things you put on the refrigerator for kids.
Would you like something?
Yes.
It's a miracle that we all survived. The kids survived. But I'm thinking also, it's an equally miraculous that the
Right.
parents survived our kid's childhood.
Yeah. Well, that's a good note to end on. That it's a miracle. Well, I think this, you know, hopefully, you know, this is just a reminder of these things and what parents, we want them to at least try to be aware of in their household, and you know, hopefully we'll have a good enough rapport that if we see something that is particularly, definitely preventable, you know, and unsafe, that we would feel comfortable to be able to make a suggestion, and hope that they would take that in and not be offended by that. Okay, I think you guys, you did great in this, and thanks for sharing all of those different interesting facts I didn't know about. Wow. Oh, and as far as, I did want to just mention a couple of resources before we end here. First Five does have a parent's website. It has all kinds of good information about health, education, just a lot of different areas, that things that related to parenting issues that parents might have questions about. This particular one, it's an online site, First Five California. There's also a California Parents Information Center that they can call, and it also has a website as well that's under that. It's CalPIRC, P-I-R-C. And 211, which has taken the place of InfoLine. If you remember InfoLine, and you dial InfoLine for pretty much any health human service referral that you might need. That's a 24/7 line. So that one's a really good one for parents to know, because it covers the gamut. If they want to find out about healthy families, so getting certain benefits or qualifying for certain benefits or getting an assessment for their child, particular services for their child.
And now they've changed with 209, I don't know if you heard, where they're added now the services for parents and trying to assess if the child's special needs. So they'll ask you,
I've heard
you know,
about
and
that.
say, you
Yeah.
know, can we do a short survey with you
Yeah.
about your child? You have a child under the age of 5. Can we do a short
Yeah.
survey with you? And then they'll go through all of it, and if they catch some red flags, you know, I would really
Yeah.
recommend that you contact so and so. Can I
Yeah.
Can I?
I believe that's
put you
First
through to
Five,
them.
right?
Mhm.
That,
It's
that
First
added that. Yeah, First Five is also part of that, and they have a LA Parent Hotline specifically for support and assistance to expectant moms or parents of children that are under 5. But yeah, you're right. They added that piece so they can do kind of a mini assessment on the phone to determine whether or not you want to have, you know, further testing for your child if they qualify. Yeah, but 211 I found is just very good for all kinds of referrals. You know, it could be legal information, health-related benefit information, educational information, child care, and it's 211 in LA County, but I know they have the same type of lines that are available in other counties, but I don't know if they use the 211 across county, so I'll have to find that out. And that's available in multiple languages too, and it's 24/7. That's a good one. And as you guys get information on resources, you know, I would just recommend that we share that with each other. Okay, so especially if you know that it's a reputable site or referral that, you know, you've had, you know, parents use or other parents are recommending, and those are the ones that we want to know about.